Ghana Grows Movies premiered in the Ashaiman community a series of films by the MasterCard Foundation and Springboard to help promote youth interest in agriculture. And also, Andrea Iervolino has hired NASA vet Bert Ulrich to embark on making space movies. And last but not the least, Cain, the Superman of the 90s in the TV series Lois and Clark, has expressed some concern about James Gunn's Superman's movie. This and more right here on the Film Mandate. My name is Papa Otu. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Film Mandate, where I bring to you movie news, reviews, and reactions both from the African front and the international scene. And thank you for joining me for this very episode of the Film Mandate. So, beginning for today, our first stories goes way, comes from Ghana, and it goes into the very community of Ashaiman. And I think July 5th, over the just this past weekend, not the one coming, uh, Springboard and the Mastercard Foundation has collaborated to do a movie, and this movie was premiered in the Shaman community to help promote the youth's interest in agriculture. And this have been published in the graphic online or graphic showbiz instead website, and I thought it was quite interesting for us to talk about it. So let me just read this article briefly, and then we'll express our thoughts with regards to what was said. So Ghana Grows movie premiere ignites new thinking among youth in Ashaiman, and this was published on July 7th. And there in your short is two of Ghana's prolific actors and comedians. I mean, the one on the left is a comedian, known for his comic sensibilities, and you have the one on the right being, a veteran in the film industry. So that's Ajeti Annan, and I'm blanking out on the name of this very popular one, but we'll get to that. So the Ashaiman community came alive on Saturday, 5th July, as hundreds of young people gathered for the premiere of three youth-led short films under the Ghana Grows program. The event, a partnership between the MasterCard Foundation and the Springboard Roadshow Foundation, with creative direction from Meraki Arts Africa, utilized the power of storytelling to redefine how young Ghanaians perceive culture and agribusiness. The films, written and produced by Meraki Arts, boldly challenges long-held stereotypes around agriculture and AT-VET, agricultural technical and vocational education and training, while spotlighting real-life stories of transformation and purpose. Describing the evening, Comfort Okran, executive director of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation, said, "This was more than a film premiere. It was a turning point proof that stories can unlock confidence, reshape mindsets, and inspire a new generation to see agriculture and ATVET as creative, fulfilling, and dignified career options." Celebrated actor Ajay Anand, who appeared in the series, praised the energy and insight the young filmmakers brought to the screen. "It's more than entertainment, it is about identity, dignity, and the future we are building together," he said. The premiere drew participation from youth across Ashaiman and beyond, along with media houses, creative industry leaders, and key stakeholders. Following the screenings, a lively panel discussion offered the cast and production team a platform to share their journey and reflections on storytelling as a tool for mindset change. Ashaiman was chosen for its vibrant youth population and track record of community-led success stories. Its energy and engagements capture the very essence of Ghana Grows to spark real change where it matters most. Led by the Springboard Road Foundation, Show Foundation, and funded by the Mastercard Foundation, The Ghana Grows program continues to make strides nationwide by promoting agriculture and AT-VET as modern, viable, and respected career paths for Ghana's youth, with support from creative and technical collaborators such as Meraki, Arts Africa, Lynn House, and others. The program remains committed to mindset shift, skills development, and youth empowerment. So about Ghana Grows. So Ghana Grows is an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation led by Springboard Roadshow Foundation. Limehouse serves as a sub implementing partner alongside key collaborators including Access Human Capital, Meraki Arts Festival, Light for the World, Ghana Psychological Association, Young and Vi Federation of Associations of Ghanaian Exporters, that's FAGE, Ghana National Tailors and Dressmakers Association, Food and Drugs Authority, and Ghana Hairdressers and Beauticians Association. So yeah, that is indeed an interesting, a very laudable initiative by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and MasterCard to engage the youth in agriculture using the medium of cinema or the medium of movies. And if you are going, if you ever have the actually, these films are actually online at the moment. I think on the official YouTube page for Springboard. So if you are going into the to watch the film expecting some action pack or highbrow films, that may not be for you, but it is equally entertaining in the fact that it is a more or less an advocacy film where it is very didactic in nature, trying to teach the youth in the Ashaiman community to take interest in agriculture and not just in social media alone, and how they can use social media to help, you know, drum or help make some economic gains with farming. And I've watched one of the it's three short films, and I've watched one of them. And in watching it, you realize that the whole idea of the film itself is to engage the youth to get to go into agriculture, regardless of the fact that they may be involved in social media and stuff. So it does incorporate very well or take note very well of the fact that the young ones are into social media and want to engage in entertainment and fun or sports to, to occupy their time and not be engaged in vices. So it is quite a very powerful tool, realizing that, let me just say this, the fact that they could have just had a conference and then told the youth, particularly in the Ashaiman community, to get involved in agriculture. They could have done that, but they realized that the power of movies can do much better. We live in a digital age where everybody has, or most people have access to either a PC or, most importantly, phone. So, and everybody wants to spend time on the phone to be able to get themselves entertained. So, it, for them to have used the power of movies, I realize that they know what they are about in order to make sure that they reel in the youth. And if you watch this particular series of movies, you realize that this film brings together prominent and professional actors together with the youth of Ashaiman. I'm not so certain as to the locations where this was shot, but I believe that in order to be able to engage the Ashaiman community very well, I'm very sure they shot it in those communities, because you could see that there were a number of amateur actors in there who are trying to do their best to help tell the stories of how the young ones can get involved in agriculture or agri products in whichever form it may take. So indeed, when I watched it, I first thought it was a very dramatic movie. And yes, it has some drama and number and laughters at certain points in time. And I even felt the vibe of what things would do for love when Ivan Kwashiga directed that one and highlighted the character of Ajeti Amnan, or in that particular series, I think it was called Pusha. And there was one character in there. It's not really spoilers because it's already online on YouTube, so you can go and check it out. But there was one character in there where she's called Na, and she likes to dance a lot. And whenever she's going through the community, everybody seems to hail her, calling her Na Na Na. Almost a similar vibe to that of Pusha in Things We Do for Love. So yeah, there's some pockets of laughter and more of education in there to drum home the message of the youth in agriculture. So it's more of an advocacy movie, which indeed serves the purpose for which the Springboard Road Show Foundation aims to achieve. And for the approach they took, definitely in this movies being premiered there, I wasn't there myself, but in this movies being premiered or have to, I mean, the movie premiering or the movie premiered on Saturday. I'm very sure that when these young ones in the community saw themselves on screen and the friends who know them, it sort of whet their appetite and perhaps engage them and made them be engaged and interested in perhaps what the MasterCard Foundation and the Springboard Road Show Foundation had to say to them. So I think it is quite interesting because we live in an era where everybody is literally an actor now in one form or the other. A lot of people are doing skits now. So it was the right way to find the means to engage these young ones in the community to be part and parcel in telling the story or sending across the message of the youth to get involved in agriculture. So I feel like it's a very smart way how they went about doing the productions, where it wasn't just hiring of professional actors to deliver stellar performances or award winning performances. No, but it found a middle ground where it brought together known actors and then amateur actors who have never acted before to mingle and come up with a story that will send the message across. So it's more of like an advocacy film or a film to send across a message, so which was quite interesting. So yeah, kudos to the Springboard Foundation and then the Mastercard Foundation for embarking on this project. And I hope it's going to be very successful, massively to turn a lot of people into the agribusiness, which indeed is the bedrock of all nations, if I should put it that way, because without food, no one can survive. So, yeah. So, this wraps up my first story. Let me know what you think, even though it happened on the 5th of July. Let me know what your thoughts are with regards to what this MasterCard Foundation and the Springboard Roadshow Foundation is doing. Yeah, do you think more of these should be done? And then how you can share your ideas. What you think can help contribute to make sure this message travels further than even further than what they have done so far. And I think it's a good initiative using movies or films as a tool to communicate to the young ones concerning a very positive project. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. So, in about, I think a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken, um, Tom Cruise and one director, I think Doug Liman, they did. There's a movie they did together that I'm forgetting, but they did a movie. I think. The Edge of Tomorrow together with I'm blanking out on the name of the lady, but they did a movie, The Edge of Tomorrow, together and a couple of other films, and they discussed the potential of traveling to space to do a film. So amazingly, it is not just Tom Cruise thinking in that area, but also another Italian director has interest in that and is embarking on such. And this is Andrea Iervolino. I hope I got the name right. He hires NASA vet Bert Ulrich with aim to make movies in space. So let's read the article. And so in the Hollywood Reporter, it says that the former NASA film liaison will help produce zero gravity films, TV, and web content to be shot in outer space by Space 11 Corp. And this is written by Ethan Vlesin in the Hollywood Reporter. So, prolific Italian producer Andrea Iervolino has hired former NASA film liaison Bert Ulrich to turbocharge his race to space via his Space 11 Corp banner. Ulrich, as Executive VP of Production Development and Communications, will oversee efforts to produce and film movie, TV, and web content, including live concerts and sports in outer space. Bert is a visionary in space storytelling. His experience is invaluable in taking Space 11 to the next level and inspiring audiences around the world. Iervolino, a veteran film producer with credits like Michael Radford's The Merchant of Venice, and in a statement on Thursday, in a statement on Thursday, Space 11 is a subsidiary of Iervolino's film and TV company, Iervolino Entertainment. Ulrich brings 2 decades of work at NASA as the agency's liaison for films and documentaries that required support, like The Martian, First Man, Hidden Figures, Ad Astra, Fly Me to the Moon, and the upcoming Project Hail Mary, the upcoming Hail Mary project. Ulrich also collaborated with global talents like Harry Styles, Ariana Grande, U2, and Coldplay. I'm thrilled to join Space 11 and help shape a new environment, a new era of entertainment on Earth and in space. With Andrea and the team, we are ready to explore storytelling in a way the world has never seen, Ulrich said in a statement. Projects earlier brainstormed by Space 11 include Galactic Combat, a reality competition series where 40 mixed martial arts fighters train and learn to fight beyond the Earth's atmosphere. To note that the series was announced in 2021 but doesn't appear to have filmed. Space 11 is following in the steps of film producers like IMAX, which has developed proprietary cameras to shoot its own big screen documentaries in outer space over the decades. So yeah, that is the Italian filmmaker. Is that an Italian filmmaker? No, sorry, that's the NASA vet consultant, Bert Ulrich. That's Ulrich. So it is indeed exciting. With the advancement of technology, where now spacecrafts can go to space and return intact, it looks like filmmakers are also taking interest in going to outer space. I mean, for SpaceX and Elon Musk, their mission is to colonize Mars, but for filmmakers, their mission is to colonize outer space as sets to make movies. And Andrea Iervolino has enlisted the help of NASA vet Bert Ulrich to make possible these films. And yes, it looks like IMAX have already taken the lead in making documentaries. But for Andrea, he's looking at making what do we call dramatic movies or feature films. And that is interesting. Seeing that Tom Cruise and Doug Liman also had plans or wanted to embark on films of that nature. As to whether it's going to be come to fruition, we do not know yet. But it looks like there are roads being made towards that becoming possible. And for Andrea, just as for Bert Ulrich, he has consulted a number of space films to ensure that whatever was captured on screen here on Earth achieves that semblance of realism when you have had opportunity to travel to space before. And being a NASA vet, I'm sure he's been on a number of spaceships, seeing how the world looks from outer space and how some of the celestial bodies look look like out there in the vast of the darkness beyond the skies. So, what a better person to actually bring on board to consult on such projects. And for Bert, for Andrea, let me just call him Andrea. He's been engaged in a couple of films, and he's really a very prolific producer who has done a number of films. A number of the films was mentioned: the Merchants, is the Merchants of Venice, the Merchants of Venice, and a whole lot. So it's for me. I will be looking forward to see what they will be able to achieve. I mean, in space. I don't know whether everything will be bordered around exploration or just a dramatic story of an individual who lives in space. And that will be interesting to see because all the space stories so far, I mean, there's been a number of fictional fantasy space stories where you have people living, I mean, certain aspect of space have already been colonized and they are living their ordinary lives as usual. But it would be nice to have a story in the semblance of not a space explorer going to space. I wouldn't say same for, I mean, Project Hail Mary, but a normal day living in outer space, grounded in a semblance of realism that looks so close to what perhaps we perceive space would be should we end up colonizing it. So that will be interesting to see. But this time around, not in the sense of a visual effects achievement, but in terms of actually shooting in space and how that would look like. So it will be quite interesting to see what will become of it when it's finally realized. So yeah, I'm glad. I don't know what's going to become of Doug Liman's and Tom Cruise's venture since he also has a number of films to shoot. But I hope all of them are able to achieve it, and let's see what it looks like to actually film in space, particularly behind the scenes. I think I'm more interested in behind the scenes than what will be in front of the camera, because behind the scenes will tell or will show us some of the challenges or the advantages in shooting in space. So that will be interesting to know what happens behind the scenes more than even what shows up on screen. So let me know your thoughts on this story as to filmmakers desiring to now shoot in space. It's quite an irony looking at the fact that I don't think every space here on Earth or every land here on Earth have been actually shot on before, but our filmmakers are desiring to break boundaries to do things that are, you know, beyond our even what our imaginations can sometimes capture. So, but it will be interesting to know. So, let me know your thoughts on this. Whether, I mean, your thoughts at all. I can't even formulate which question to ask, but simply let me know your thoughts on this, and then let's have a conversation on whether space filming is even possible, and what do you think may be the benefits and advantages or disadvantages to that. So, yeah, so that ends my second story. And my last story, but not the least, Superman is premiering today worldwide. I mean, it's premiered before with advanced screenings and stuff, but in terms of worldwide screening, it is happening today, Friday, 11th July. And I had the opportunity to watch it yesterday, the 10th. So I'll be dropping my no spoiler review on the channel, uh, hopefully tomorrow, if not later in the day tomorrow. But interesting enough, the Superman of the 90s in Lois and Clark, that is Dean Cain, has concerns about James Gunn's Superman movie. And let's look at what he had to say. So, in the Hollywood Reporter, Dean Cain worries James Gunn's Superman is just too woke. The former Superman takes issue with the director's comments about the new movie being an immigration allegory. We know Superman is an immigrant. He's a freaking alien. This is written by James Hebert, and I think published just yesterday. Yeah. So that's the Kane, a screenshot from the Lois and Clark's TV series, which was very popular in the 90s. A former Superman is throwing some culture war kryptonite at James Gunn's new film. Dean Cain, who played the iconic superhero in the 90s TV series Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, took issue with Gunn's recent comments, suggesting that his new Superman is an allegory for immigration about politics. The film has also reportedly used the phrase truth, justice, and a human way in product marketing instead of the Superman's best known motto of fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. Speaking to TMZ, Kane pointed out Fox News host Jesse Waters joke that Superman's cape should now have on it MS-13, the name of a Salvadoran gang that's designated as a foreign terrorist organization, and that the host makes great political points. How woke is Hollywood going to make this character? Kane asked. How much is Disney going to change their Snow White? Why are they going to change these characters to exist for the times? Continued Kane. For Superman, it was truth, justice in the American way. Well, they dropped that. I don't think it's a great idea. I think if you want to create a new character, go ahead and do that. But for me, Superman has always stood for truth, justice, and the American way. And the American way is tremendously immigrant friendly, but there are rules. You can't come in saying, I want to get rid of all the rules in America because I wanted to be more like Somalia. Well, that doesn't work because you had to leave Somalia to come here. So it doesn't make any sense. If people are coming for economic opportunity, let's take a look at your government and why you don't have that economic opportunity. And there have to be limits because we can't have everybody here in the United States. Our society will fail. Kane reportedly added that Gunn's comments weren't necessary because we know Superman is an immigrant. He's a freaking alien. It's important to note here that it doesn't actually sound like Kane has seen the new film, which critics have largely described as a crowd pleasing success that is not overtly political. As USA Today points out, while Gunn doesn't overdo it with political stakes, themes, and personalities, he certainly drives home the point that kindness is the superpower we all should be using on the regular. Kane was reacting to Gunn's viral comments to the Times UK, which talked about this film's message. I mean, Superman is the story of America, Gunn explained, and immigrants that came from other places and populated the country. But for me, it is mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and is something we have lost. He also acknowledged that Superman may be interpreted differently among various political groups and doesn't mind if some people take offense. Yes, it plays differently, Gunn said, but it's about human kindness, and obviously there will be jerks are out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it is about kindness. But screw them. This Superman does seem to come at a particular time when people are feeling a loss of hope in other people's goodness. I'm telling a story about a guy who is uniquely good, and that feels needed now because there is a meanness that has emerged due to cultural figures being mean online. Gunn added, and no, I don't make films to change the world, but if a few people could be just a bit nicer after this, it would make me happy. Superman opens in theaters today and it's targeting $100 million plus box office opening as DC seeks to kick off a new hero universe. Superman stars David Consworth, Twister Spell as the title character Rachel Brosnahan, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel and House of Cards places love interest and journalist Lois Lane, and Nicholas Hoult as Nosferatu and Juror Number Two portrays the villain Lex Luthor. So that is indeed quite, you know, differing opinions both from the Dean Cain and also James Gunn. So regardless of any film at all, there will be differing opinions about a particular film, and I don't think Dean Cain. I don't know. I'm not. I don't really know, but from what I can glean from his comments, he didn't. He doesn't mean malice, and neither do I think that perhaps James Gunn's comments targets him necessarily. But yes, him being Superman before, I'm sure is well vested in the law of Superman and DC, and it's personal to him just as now it's personal to James Gunn as the head of DC. So regardless, the times of the 90s are different from what is happening now. And woke or not, I'm sure perhaps the studio are looking at making money rather than just telling stories so that they can keep on telling the story. So maybe on one end for the studio is mainly business, but on another end, for most fan enthusiasts who may not gravitate towards Gunn's portrayal of Superman, they some may see it offensive, some may not really give much thought to whatever underlining message the film may have necessarily. So it depends on one's experience and the approach to which they are going to enter into the screening with. And for me, I've always said that I lean towards more of the Henry Cavill Superman. But in going to watch this film for myself, I realized that it was entertaining, as a whole, because I like films and I'm a filmmaker myself. So I want to take time and learn from those who are who are experts in the film. And James Gunn, as a filmmaker, is really an expert, at what he does best. So for I'm not an American, so I may not be able to relate to some of the challenges that or some of the opinions Americans may have concerning these films. But for me, from as an outsider, I from what I can see of the movie, it is really entertaining. And yes, as it's an immigrant story, but it doesn't really it such themes actually runs through a number, I think perhaps almost all the Superman films. Even in Henry Cavill's film, it was really drummed very hard, him being an alien. Maybe the word immigrant wasn't used, but him being an alien was the quite central to the story itself. And what if people powerful than us come to the world and destroy us? And it's similar in this film as well, where if you watch it, you will know what that is. But the in every society, a superpowered being will be feared. Should we have one in existence today, a meta human with powers that can destroy you with just the flick of the finger? Everybody's going to be scared and be quite skeptical of them, even if they are good. So um, yeah, I'm sure Dean Cain has a point there. So does perhaps James Gunn. But for me, as a fan of just films, it's thoroughly. I mean, it's entertaining, but at the same time, I can understand where both people stand. Sometimes I would watch a film from the past and I like it so much that I don't want it to be altered in any way to suit the current audience, because I feel like it was written for a purpose for that time. But however, if a filmmaker is tackling that particular IP wants to alter it to tell the story, I think it's within their rights, if I should put it that way. And it being an art, definitely you don't expect films to stay the same as every other film have been made. Maybe the core tenets of characters or the core message or core purpose of a story can be maintained, but other things can evolve as well. So yeah, I'm sure Dean Cain may not be the only one with such concerns for it, especially with the slogan of "True Justice and the American Way." And now it's more. I think James Gunn's approach is "True Justice and the Human Way." I'm sure there is a very good reason why he chose to go with that rather than the American way. And I feel it's from my perspective, what I see is more of trying to make this film very receptive to other audiences from all over the world, because uh, take it or leave it, the other countries may not share some of the opinions and the mindset of America as a whole. But so I don't know. I'm just guessing that perhaps that could be one of the reasons why James Gunn might have dropped the American way and made it a human way, so that it's more receptive to audiences from all over the world, and not prevent, and not because of political differences or social differences, would prevent others from seeing this film. So that's my thinking. So there could be more to it than not, until maybe DC and James Gunn come to say exactly what they had in mind doing this. And I'm sure he's expressed, just as he's expressed a little in this article, we may not know for sure what exactly they have in mind. So yeah, Dean Cain has concerns, and so perhaps that's many others who may not. But I'm yet to see what he has to say when he finally watches the film. As the article says, that he might not have watched the film. So hopefully, when he watches the films, I'll be interested to know what he has to say with regards to his opinion in this article, whether it's going to be different or it's going to stay the same. So I'll be interested to know what he has to say afterwards. But regardless, I think I respect both of their concerns, and yeah, they have the right to stick to that. But I don't think in case comments he meant it to be not to be nice as a person. Everybody has to be nice, regardless of which political ideology or whatever it is that you support. But indeed, it is quite an interesting uh, after this weekend, we'll know how whether people gravitate towards what Dean Kane's view of Superman should be, or what James Gunn's Superman iteration is. So we'll get to know more afterwards. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below of what you think of this article and the opinion of Dean Cain as against that of James Gunn. I mean, they were not arguing, or those are not two opposite ends of an argument they were having. It's just that I just want to know your comments concerning what he said with regards to this Superman, having been a former Superman himself. So yeah, this brings me to the end of the stories for today. But today being a Friday, definitely, I know you'll be going to the cinemas to watch your favorite movies, just as I did yesterday. So let's starting from Ghana in the Silverbird cinemas. Let's see what movies they are screening today. And as usual, screening began at 10 a.m. this morning of Superman. So if you haven't watched Superman yet, you can go and watch it today. And also Ankon Ki Gastara Chingayan. Pardon me, it's a Hindi movie. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but it is a Hindi movie for all the Indian loving fans, movie fans. You can go and also take a look at it. India has really have been entertaining us for so many years. Another film is Malik, which is also opening today, an action crime drama, also from India. Jurassic World Rebirth is still in the cinemas, which premiered last week, and also Out in the Darkness, a Nollywood movie, is also show. I mean, it premiered from last week, still showing. Boss Chicks and Megan 2.0. Boss Chicks, a Ghanaian movie, and Megan 2.0, an action horror movie, also will be showing in the cinemas. They opened a couple of weeks ago. Um, Boss Chicks opened last weekend and still is in the cinemas this weekend. And then you have F1, the movie, also is showing at the cinema. Elio from Pixar, How to Train Your Dragon, From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, and Mission Impossible and other films are still in the cinemas screening. So you can go and watch them and have fun with it. So moving on from the cinemas in Ghana and Africa to the world over, Let's take a look at the films that are showing in the cinemas on the Rotten Tomato website. I don't know why it's not showing. Yeah, let me, yeah. Yeah, so on the Rotten Tomatoes website, internationally, as usual, Superman is screening today. And then you have Sovereign, Among the Wolves, Abraham's Boys, a Dracula story, Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight, Bang, all releasing today. As well, releasing today is Nuked, Wild Diamond, To a Land Unknown, Daniela Forever also is releasing today. So there's a whole lot of movies that are releasing today, and I'm going to leave the links in the comment section below for you to take a look at. So also soon, I come to an end of today's episode of the Film Mandates. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and thank you so much for joining me for this um, film podcast or film reviews and reactions that I've been doing. And I appreciate your presence being with me for this short period that I've begun this. So I really appreciate you, and thanks so much for joining me for this episode. I'll be coming your way again with another episode come Monday. But however, expect my Superman review soon. I'm Papa O2, and this has been the Film Mandate. I'll see you soon.